Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another video podcast of Porn News Today Live. I'm your host, Alex Mayers. Tonight's video podcast is going to revolve around a tweet from Freedom Program, a special project in regards to the empowerment and well-being of women. This particular tweet was retweeted by a friend of mine on social media known as Angry Publicist. And make sure that all of you follow her because Angry Publicist consistently has her finger on the pulse of what it takes for the well-being of adult performers and sex workers. Now let's just go ahead and get into the tweet. It's actually an excellent primer or blueprint when it comes to deciphering between Mr. Right versus Mr. Wrong. Throughout my time as an adult performer, I consistently noticed that quite a few of my female peers often got themselves into trouble because they ended up with either boyfriends, pimps, agents, publicists, or who knows who else, who were very abusive and psychologically detrimental to them. Before I read this list, I want you all to remember that anyone in life who's good for you will consistently build you up. They will not tear you down or make you feel bad about who you are. Mr. Wrong, an abusive man. He shouts, sulks, smashes things, glares, calls you names, makes you feel ugly and useless, cuts you off from your friends, stops you working, never admits he is wrong, blames you, drugs, drinking, stress, etc. Turns the children against you, uses the children to control you, never does his share of the housework, never looks after the children, expects sex on demand, controls the money, threatens or wheedles you to get his own way, seduces your friends, sister, or anyone else in your life, expects you to be responsible for his well-being. Now that's Mr. Wrong, but let's take a look at who's Mr. Right and who's the kind of man that every woman needs to seek out when it comes to getting themselves into a healthy relationship. A non-abusive man is cheerful, consistent, supportive, tells you you look good, tells you you're competent, uses your name, trusts you, trusts your judgment, welcomes your friends and family, encourages you to be independent, supports your learning, career, etc., admits to being wrong, is a responsible parent, is an equal parent, does his share of the housework, accepts that you have a right to say no to sex, shares financial responsibility, takes responsibility for his own well-being and happiness, and in short, behaves like a reasonable human being. Now, before I leave you all tonight, I highly encourage that all the adult performers who follow me and watch my videos also follow a good friend of mine known as Ruby. Her Twitter account is JRax, and she's the vice president of the Adult Performers Actors Guild Union. Like myself, at times she becomes a little frustrated and disenchanted with the state of civil rights pertaining to sex workers, adult performers, and especially women. But she is one of the hardest working women that I've ever met. So make sure that you listen to what she has to say and pay attention to her educational and insightful tweets. Once more, I'm Alex Mayers with Porn News Today Live. Have a good night.